Hey, Kyle here. Today I want to make a video on rewilding your health and expanding your awareness with wild awe. So much today in the material marketplace sells us these health solutions that are superfoods and supplements and pills that can make us have more energy or more focus or a better mood. But there's one thing that we can't get any supplement for, any kind of external fix for, that comes in sort of some substance that we purchase. And that is walking and being outside nature and essentially reversing the negative effects on our body of sitting so much in this day and age. And no thing you can buy can reverse the negative effects of that. And really only walking and spending time in nature can do that. And often I think people have trouble with sleep and with focus and energy and mood, and they think there's like a pharmacological solution to it or some special food, but often it's just we need to change our lifestyle to offset the sitting that has a negative effect on our body. And the easiest way to do that is just with walking throughout the day to sort of recharge ourselves. So there's something in psychology called attention restoration theory. They've done research finding how nature and the fractal patterns around us, these self-similar branching patterns, help relax our mind. The symmetry and balance of the world around us helps relax our mind. And they did a study with young children with ADHD, and they had them walk in downtown Chicago, in quiet neighborhoods, and in parks. And they found the most significant reduction in cortisol and improvement in attention was found in the park, walking in the park. And so being in green spaces helps recharge your attention. It's ancestral, it's in our DNA to be in these ecosystems. But today, just the nature of life, we're on screens, we're sitting most of the day. So if you can take brief periods of mindful walking after your meals, you're actually gonna improve your digestion, you're gonna improve your blood sugar, you're gonna improve your mood, and then you're gonna have more attention and more focus to do your work and to do better work where you get into flow and you're completely immersed in what you're doing. So wild awe can be found simply as walking in the local park, noticing the wildness, the difference between the human-made world and the wild world, and then dedicating time each year to completely unplug. In ecotherapy, there's something called the 3-day rule, where if you unplug for 3 days and you tune into nature and you're in the backcountry, you start to reawaken this deep felt presence, this awareness of your interconnection with everything, this awe of being essentially part of the same awareness, the same life force as every living thing. And it's an ineffable thing in many ways that can only be experienced through immersion and unplugging. So the wildness of nature and getting away from the human design world is a really good way to recharge. And there was another study done on wild water rafting trips, taking young veterans that had post-traumatic stress syndrome and kids from poor neighborhoods that had a lot of problems that result from poverty. And they found that a few days spent in the wild, whitewater rafting was a powerful way to reduce stress hormone, about a 35% decrease in stress hormones. A feeling of well-being and connectedness after, like more of a family sense afterwards, resulting from just that few days, a shared experience. And they actually found what happened because they did a cortisol test, our main stress hormone, using saliva. And they found that when the day started, people had different cortisol levels. But they found that toward the end of the day, everyone's cortisol levels had synced up together. So when we do these kind of wild awe experiences with other people, with our close friends and family, we get additional benefits where we have this group flow, this synchronization of brainwaves, of physiology, of these hormone levels that make us feel this deep connection that's often hard to find in a world or in a social environment where people are constantly pulling out their phone and drifting off into the cyberspace matrix and then coming back, but they often have this sort of continual partial attention. And when we're with someone that's not fully with us, it can be easy to feel a kind of mild sense of loneliness, of disconnection, and even alienation. And it's other people doing that, but often it's us doing that too, right? Our phones remind us to use them. Like, what kind of a drug reminds you to use it constantly and is always at arm's reach 24/7 most likely? You know, and we wake up with it in our hand and we may go to bed with it in our hand. So Wild Awe is a way to unplug from this 2D rectangular flat world of our screens, where we really voyeuristically watch other people on adventures and in nature and all these different interesting things, and we go create our own adventures and our own wild experiences. And I'm a huge believer in backpacking, trekking, getting out into the wilderness. It doesn't have to be expensive. A lot of community groups you can join, do this kind of stuff, and meetups. There's Facebook groups. There's all these ways to find that community where we live and get out of the city, get out of the town, and into these wild places. And for experiencing awe, you want to really zone in on vastness, spaciousness, mysteriousness, and just notice the world around you. Notice it sort of without labeling it and judging it, comparing it to past experience, which is what the mind does. Just sort of notice that mind, become mindful of the world around you a bit, and then notice there's a space in which everything is arising. This awareness you can become aware of, in which everything arises within this space. And you can feel this space. And that's really what awe is. You're feeling the vastness of this space, that it is limitless in many ways. And it's powerful. And in some ways, you start to realize, at first it comes in glimpses, but when you're really disconnected from screens in the human world, it comes in larger doses. But you realize that everything is alive and animate, and that your awareness is not necessarily unique to you. It's shared by plants and trees and forests and ecosystems in ways that you can't fully understand or measure with scientific instruments. But you start to feel there's a presence everywhere. You know, a divine presence, if you like, that really connects everything, a spirit. And in our world today, where materialism and scientific materialism says we live in a world of dead matter that has no consciousness, that only we are conscious, and that there's really no meaning or purpose in this universe, it's easy to be depressed, it's easy to be anxious, because that's, I think, the result of that materialism as a philosophy of life, as a worldview. And we often don't question the worldview of our culture because it's so ingrained in us everywhere we go, everywhere we look, in our school, in our technologies, in our institutions. But wild awe can reawaken us to something that's much more magical, much more profound, much more transformative than anything our culture offers us today. So I highly recommend is throughout your day, taking a break from your work, from scrolling. I like to do it after meals, going for a walk, and just appreciating the natural wonders all around you, in your neighborhood, near your office. If you have a chance to go to a park or a forest, all the better. And then having these times every month where you can completely disconnect for a day, right? Maybe use your GPS on your phone if you have to, but disconnect, be in nature, really sit with the awe of things instead of short-circuiting that by pulling out the phone to capture it. Just dwell in that feeling, allow that feeling to expand into this limitless field of awareness, of life, of spirit that's inside of us, but also all around us. And we start to overcome that duality of being this separate, observing self, and more we start to feel this non-dual clarity and awareness and connection, that everything we are is not just in us, it's all around us. The air, the water, the sun, the earth, the ether, the space, the animate space that we can connect with, and it recharges us in ways no screen can. So taking those times daily, monthly, and then yearly, doing that 3-day experience, 3 to 5 days, completely unplugged, may not be productive time to measure, but it gives you so much more energy and focus when you return to work, and meaning and purpose that comes out of that. Like, often when I do that, I come back with fresh ideas for courses and things I want to write about and make videos about. It's such a powerful thing. So yeah, just my thoughts on sort of expanding awareness, rewilding our health with wild awe.